Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon to those viewing from Australia. It's just after lunchtime here in Perth, WA, and a little bit later in the East Coast. Chris, welcome. How are you?
Doing great. How you doing, Russ?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Good. It's been a busy year. I can't believe it's October already, almost November. What about you? Busy year?
I know, absolutely. I've been traveling a little. Actually, I was in your neck of the woods about 6, 8 weeks ago. I was in Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne for a week, meeting with customers, partners, and met up with some of your folks as well. So had a really good trip and still going at it. Ended up having a couple other trips. Hit GITEX last week in Dubai, and I'm in Nuremberg this week for OT IT trade show in Nuremberg, Germany.
Nice. So now you've had a taste of Australia. Are you ready to move over, or?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Get my surfboard out.
Pack the bags and yeah, see you here after Christmas maybe. Now, well, thanks
Absolutely.
for joining us today, and yeah, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be focusing again on network taps, Garland Technology network taps. Previously, we've had a session with Chris, and we've spoken at a high level about the company and the capability. Today, we're going to dive a little deeper, get more technical, talk about some specifics, the different technologies and solutions they have. Um, we'll talk about network monitoring solutions, and the reality is networks are quite complicated, especially when you start to deploy such monitoring systems. We'll talk about how to make things less complicated, more secure, and touch on a variety of topics. So, as these topics and questions are raised by myself, feel free to put a comment on LinkedIn there and raise your questions. We'll aim to answer your questions on this live call. This will be recorded and is viewable afterwards as well. So we'll ensure we post and share away. So if it's okay with you, Chris, we'll get stuck straight in.
Absolutely.
One of the first things I'd like to understand a little further is maybe a use case on how Garland Technology has supported the monitoring tools. How does it exactly provide the monitoring tools with 100% packet visibility?
Yeah. So interesting use case we had recently is one of our customers was for some cranes for port authorities. So they were running into some challenges of figuring out how they could actually have the ability to utilize their intrusion detection system and be able to deploy those at the crane level. So when they investigated their systems, and a lot of times, I think Russ, you and I talked about this last time. You know, when you're diving into OT, a lot of times people aren't 100% sure exactly what they have in place. Do they have unmanaged switches, potentially managed switches where they could use span or mirrored ports? And after some investigation with the customers, we identified that there's about anywhere from 2 to 4 uh, copper 100 meg or 1 gig links, and the cranes are actually managed by um, one of the OEMs, so they didn't have any capability to upgrade the unmanaged switches, but obviously they wanted to get that granular visibility and be able to monitor the crane. So what we ended up doing is putting in network taps in this particular location, and we have a nice aggregator where you can put 4 taps. It's in a single box, aggregates that traffic to single monitoring port, and then we placed a small little IDS sensor at each of the cranes. So this allowed the customer to get full visibility, and right now they're in the process of rolling out about uh, 50 tap solutions with their IDS monitoring solution. So really, provided the customer now that full visibility, and they were really completely blind, right, of what was happening within these locations. So it just goes to show that um, when companies are deploying, a lot of the solutions in the environment, and at Secolve, I know Russ, right? We've done some work with a couple different vendors like Nozomi and Dragos, and
Hmm.
we um, you know a lot of times when customers get started, right? They start at that north south. Uh, firewall, really starting to get visibility there, and you're going to start seeing a lot of challenges when you want to go beyond that. So it was definitely an interesting use case, and we were excited to see that we were able to help the customer in an easy, simple way, get that 100% access to the data, right down to the crane side. I know when I was in Australia a couple weeks ago, that was one of the things we were talking about, port authorities, and some of the requirements that we really need to look at assisting in getting that visibility to that level.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about working with you. To be honest, is that initial kind of whiteboarding session, brainstorming session, if you may call it that, with the customer, just to ensure they're going to get true value from that initial deployment, east-west visibility, etc. Yeah, interesting use case, the ports for sure. I know the cranes have been in the media a fair bit in the US, in terms
Yep.
of the technology or unknown technology used on them. So very interesting one. So with regards to the security monitoring tools and the implementation, you're not introducing. Sometimes you're introducing additional risk there, right? Like there's more communications, more channels, different technology being implemented. Um, how can you help with that?
Yeah. So just kind of staying on the use case for a minute. One of the nice things that we also achieve there is when we're utilizing taps. One of the nice things is the taps that we use, especially for OT, are unidirectional, so they're data diode design. So we actually help isolate. So if you place, if someone's not familiar with it, if you have, your switch and your other network device, maybe it's a PLC or something. So you have the two network devices connected by a wire. When you go from your switch to tap to PLC, that traffic flows on the network, and if it's a power tap and there's no power, traffic actually continues to flow. So one is right, we're resilient if for some reason power were to be lost to the device, and then when we copy the traffic out the monitoring ports, and in this case we were actually aggregating traffic from up to 4 taps to a single monitoring port, since again in these locations, right, very low utilization. So we were, tapping 100 meg or 1 gig and aggregating it to a single 1 gig port. But when we send that traffic out the monitoring port, um, it is a unidirectional copy. So we actually don't provide any way to send traffic back into uh, the 4 links. So one, it's at uh, I always say, we want a copy of the traffic, but we want to do it in a secure unidirectional way to make sure that we're not compromising, any ability to have a backflow or get back on the network. And, when we're dealing with, you know, uh, regulations as well. And I know in Australia, uh, what's the regulations again? In Australia, the terminology for utilities.
Others, the SOCI Act or
Yes,
AES
Saki Act.
CSF.
Yes, yes. So they so similar for the Saki Act and NIS2 in Europe, NERCSIP in the US. This is one of the requirements that people are looking for, is that if you are connecting up the network, as an example, using a span or mirrored port, that we want to achieve that ability to at the hardware level, right? We want to be able to isolate that. So if you were to set up a span mirror port on a switch or router, and take your monitoring tool, plug it directly in, uh, based on some of the regulations globally, there's a requirement that since it is a network connection, that you isolate that, right? So you put a piece of hardware in that, using an example, let's just say it's a 1 gig copper spam port that you would plug it into a data diode, and then that traffic would get copied out of the data diode to your security sensor. And at the hardware level, there's no way to go in the reverse direction. So it's a simple way of doing that isolation if you're looking at doing a span deployment on your switches.
Yeah, okay. We should probably recap on the differences just quickly about with regards to taps and spam ports. It's good to know that you can secure the spam ports. They are a popular method of getting data. I'll just put a quick reminder out though to the audience and for those that joined us a little late. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Feel free to ask any questions or jump in. Just write a comment on the LinkedIn feed you've joined. But yeah, really good info, Chris. So let's recap on taps versus spams.
Sure.
Why one or the other?
Yeah. So it's a continued conversation we have with our customers, our partners, and if you have a managed switch, if you're not familiar, with how that works, essentially, you can generally set up a port on a managed switch that allows you to get a copy of some of the traffic that's flowing on that particular switch. And if you haven't used a wiretap, I was just briefly talking about it, but a wiretap is a purpose-built piece of hardware that gets inserted between two network devices. So obviously, Russ and I are having a great conversation right now, and if we were to put a wiretap in between, Russ and I, the purpose of the tap is to copy all the traffic. So we copy everything I say and everything that Russ says. And a couple things to keep in mind: a wiretap is no IP address. There's no MAC address, so it's invisible on the network. You don't know it's there. A hacker, if your network's compromised, they're not going to know you're monitoring. So, a wiretap provides you that perfect ability to guarantee, no matter what, that every packet flowing between your two network devices is copied to your security tool. A span mirror port, obviously, if you have a managed switch, right, it's there. But you do have to be careful, right? Sometimes older switches, if you turn the span ports on, you can have performance issues on your network. If you're working with some of the OEMs, maybe ABB, Honeywell, Snyder, or someone's managing, part of your network, you may not be allowed to configure that switch to allow you to use a span mirrored port. But I always like to bring up that there's a lot of risk when using span and mirror ports, right, Russ? Because just think of a couple things, right? Just maybe misconfigured. So someone goes in, maybe they're testing something out, they're upgrading your switches or routers, and someone makes a mistake, and now your spam port's not configured properly. I ask customers, do you audit your spam port configurations on a regular basis? So let's say you're doing multiple, you know, uh, firmware updates for your switches. What's your protocol? Are you taking that time to, check it every time? There's a lot of articles about, vulnerabilities on your switches, and you see a lot of different articles, stating that, hey, a network was compromised, and uh, it was just in stealth mode, right? And no one was aware that it was there. Um, so I always say get started with span, but if you have critical assets like we were talking about earlier on the port authority side, if you really want to see what's happening at the crane level, your asset level, uh, the only way to 100% guarantee you're going to see everything is a wiretap. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a conversation that I think we should be having more of, because I think it's a lot of times it's just simple, right? Hey, let's set up a spam port. We're good to go. But let's have some strategies of at least pinpointing some critical locations, or maybe there's an area on your network that a lot of traffic traverses that makes sense to put a tap in. And we see it all the time. Customers are amazed when, right, we put a tap in and they start seeing all these assets, right, that their security tool wasn't getting. So it's a real eye opener when you start taking a look at it. Um, and we I think we talked about the journey, right, Russ, last time. This isn't a one time
I was about to say
solution.
exactly. This isn't something people have missed. If they've already deployed a monitoring tool, you're not too late. We often work with customers that do this years into their monitoring journey and realizing they're not seeing all the data. Or you can do it before the monitoring is put in place. This can be done at any time. Leading on to our next question, it also helps with network complexity. We're talking about many devices, many segments, large, very complicated networks at times, depending on size and scale of the customer. So let's dive into how you I guess help with the complexity problem.
Yeah, so that's kind of, if you think about the comment of a journey, right? So we start at, north south. So maybe someone says, hey, I'm gonna set up a spam port, start doing some monitoring, get into deploying a you know out of band monitoring solution. And when you look at, really expanding, and you want to start going, seeing some of your east west traffic, you want to start seeing traffic down to your asset layer. uh, it does become complicated. And you start seeing that there's a lot of areas that you want to monitor. So there may be areas that, maybe you have a lot of spam ports that you want to get access to. So in that case, you may want to look at considering, utilizing some purpose-built aggregators. So if you're, familiar with network taps, you probably heard of packet brokers. So, we do have a, full line of packet brokers, but we also have some uh, simpler products that we call aggregators, which allow you to take traffic from either span ports and or taps, and be able to aggregate that traffic to your security sensors. And we also provide capability for that data dial functionality in some of our aggregators as well. So again, we try to make it easy, simple, cost effective for customers to, be able to get that, different points of traffic throughout their network, to make it easier to architect, and at the end of the day, easier to manage, and lower that, overall cost of ownership um, with the deployments.
Yeah, right. So several devices in theory into one, simplifying the network back to the monitoring solution. What's the network packet broker? What's the difference there?
Yeah, so once, a couple different things that we can do. And it's kind of unique, in OT sometimes, right, we talk about low bandwidth. We talk about, not a lot of traffic. So couple things, we have some packet brokers as small as 4 ports, 10 ports. And so packet brokers can do, several different things with the traffic. So let's just say you're doing a lot of span aggregation. One of the problems you can run into is duplicate packets, right? So, packet brokers can do features like it can filter out traffic if there's certain traffic you don't want to see. You can do aggregation, and one of the features deduplication. So if you're spanning a lot of getting, let's say you're bringing in, 30, 40 spam ports from different switches, you may find that you have a lot of duplicate packets that could cause issues with your security sensors. So, one way is at the packet broker level, right? We can take out those duplicate packets, so you can, run your security sensor more efficiently. There may be some other things we want to do. You may have some remote sites that you have low bandwidth, but you don't want to put a sensor at. We can use encapsulation, so we can encapsulate traffic from the remote site, bring it to the head end, decapsulate it, send it to the security sensor, and do different things like media conversion, right? So maybe you want to bring traffic, maybe you have a bunch of copper taps or copper spam ports, and you want to aggregate that, and then send it over fiber and solve different problems. Maybe you have 100 base FX or LX that you want to convert to 1 gig so you can read it. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to uh, you know for people watching today. I would say you're deploying OT security. Um, you know we can really help look at ways to make it easier and simpler. And to me, it just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you want to monitor, again, just going back to the one use case, why wouldn't you want to monitor at the crane level? Right? Makes sense, right? You don't want to miss that. That's an important piece. If you're manufacturing, why aren't you, uh, managing, certain areas of your manufacturing floor? Why aren't you monitoring at the substation level? You know, Everybody wants to do it, but I think they think about, wow, how, it's going to be too complicated. So I think that's, what we focus on. I like to say the truth is in the packets, and our job is to help, you know, work with customers to instrument their network to make it easy, simple, cost effective to get more data to your sensors.
At the end of the day, you just want to do it properly, right? You
Yes.
want you want you want value from your tool. Why not do it properly the first time, or at some point soon? I've got a history of security operations and threat monitoring. I know how important it is seeing the data or having visibility of the entire network. So, yeah. But how do people get started then? Then, Chris, I know you've got some free trials
Yep.
available.
Yeah. So obviously, Russ with Secolve, our local partner in Australia, that um, we're really excited, to announce with you guys that we want you to see packets, right? I mean, let's get to the simple. We talk about it. So a lot of customers have started this journey, and so what we would love to do is offer the ability to meet up with customers that have some current deployments, and they want to see how they can get more data. So we're offering, obviously, along with Secolve, a free trial. So we'll have a introductory design it meeting. So we'll take a look at your architecture. We'll put some recommendations together to see how to get more data to your existing sensors and get that visibility so you can protect more, see more. And as part of the free trial, we'll also offer a buy one get one free. So again, trying to make it easy for customers that have started this journey, and that they're already utilizing an IDS technology, that we want to just bring some more data to their existing install. And so yeah, we're really excited about this. We're starting to launch this in other areas as well globally with our partners. And it could be even be a customer if you're just looking to get started as well. But the idea here is let's get some more visibility to your assets on your network. And we love to just show customers how it's easy, simple to do. And so excited to get this launched, and see how we can get those packets.
Yeah, nice one. So if anyone's interested in that, feel free to reach out to the Secolve website or contact me directly via LinkedIn. We'll tee up a session with Chris and the team, and we'll get on that whiteboard and get that packet visibility. Nice one. And just
Excellent.
for a reminder for our audience, Secolve have an OT cybersecurity meetup coming in about a month's time, the 21st of November. It's a Thursday evening, and it's based out of Melbourne this time. Been around the country. We've been in Melbourne. We'll be having another Perth event as well, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's been 25 minutes, guys. So we'll
Yep.
probably look at wrapping that up now. I appreciate the insights, Chris. There's a lot of really interesting technology there. What I might do is share some white paper links to your website in this post once we post it, and yeah, we'll talk soon, mate. Thanks for that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Russ. Great talking as always.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. See ya.